Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to the Raw Link Up podcast. This is episode 10 of our podcast. I am your host, the amazing Sniper Beef. I am joined alongside by my co-host.
Hi guys, Devastate here, and first things first, I really want to apologise. So, the podcast has come out late this week, and to be honest, it's my fault. So, we recorded it, but I forgot to press the record button. Then we went back and recorded it, and the file corrupted. And by that time, I came to edit it. Beefy was busy. I was then busy. And so this is the very first opportunity we've had to get it sorted. So big apologies for me. Don't think it's been cancelled. It's not. We are always going to be here with you every single week. And this week, we've got some stuff that we want to talk about.
Yeah, indeed. And if I can just kick off, Devastate, let me just remind everyone who isn't au fait with what the Raw Link Up is. So the Raw Link Up is a group of friends. So myself, Devastate, and there's a whole group of us. We have been doing the Raw Link Up for 26 years now. And basically, we take our PCs, our desks, our tables, and we go around to one of our houses every year for a whole week. We connect them up on a LAN and we play PC games for a week and order takeaway 2 to 3 times a day. So it's an absolutely fantastic week. We had our 2024 link up 2 weeks ago. So the fact that, well, it's more than 2 weeks ago now. It's absolutely flown by. It was a fantastic week. But from a social media perspective, Devastate and we will continue to do the podcast. And we're obviously going to talk about what we're going to be doing throughout the rest of the year and what's coming up as well. But I suppose it's probably a good point to check in now. And what have we been up to since the link up has been happening? So I'll kick off. So I've actually been playing quite a lot of Ark, the new Ark Survival Ascended, because on my previous PC, it wouldn't run it. Just wouldn't run it. So I've now got a new PC from Andromeda Gaming. It's a very high spec PC, 4080 Super, Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, and I've got the best 4K monitor that you can buy for its money. And honestly, it looks stunning. Like, so much so, like my 6-year-old, who I play it with, he was like, "Daddy, it looks like the dinosaurs are real in your screen." And I was like, yeah, it does look that good. And like, genuinely, it's absolutely incredible. I'm going to be streaming that probably at least once a week going forward. I've been a bit busy the last couple of weeks, but every week I'll try and do probably a couple of hours streaming. That'll be on TikTok live, streaming that going forward. But yes, I'll be very much looking forward to building that. Because I'll only be playing the single player, because I'll basically just be doing what my son wants me to do on it, because he wouldn't want me to advance the game too much, because otherwise he'll miss out on it a bit. But I'll be very keen to start to play a lot more of that. Devastate, what have you been streaming recently?
Yeah, so I've sort of since the link up, I've been streaming on TikTok, on Twitch. Streaming on TikTok. I haven't been streaming on TikTok.
No,
You've been
you
streaming on
definitely have.
TikTok. I have been streaming on twitch.tv/the Royal Link Up, and doing a variety of different things. So we've gone through everything from playing daily games on there, so like Wordles. We've been playing a lot of Game Duel. And if no one knows what Game Duel is, it's essentially you have to. It's a different game that's each day, and you've got sort of an easy, medium, and hard mode. And so the easy mode is it's sort of a bit like if you remember the old school catchphrase game, where like you'd have an image and it's covered by squares or blurred, and you have to guess what it is. If you get it wrong, then one uncovers and stuff like that. So that's like easy mode. So we play that, and then we play the hard mode, where it gives you clues to try and guess the game. So there's one of those every day, and we do that on stream.
I just keep,
We
I
just,
just keep sorry to butt in there. It just takes me back to catchphrase. And what was the Irish guy who used to present it called? And he always used to say, I can't do an Irish accent. Say what you see.
say what you
Just
see.
say what you see. And literally, I used to absolutely love that game shows. Yeah.
Oh, that's. I mean, we could get right into an old school '90s and noughties Saturday night TV piece, couldn't we?
Simpsons,
Yep,
Fresh Prince of Bel Air,
yep.
Baywatch.
Baywatch or
uh,
Knight Rider
or Knight Rider. Blind Date.
with Cilla
Um,
Black.
yeah, or real name Priscilla White.
Yeah,
Rest in peace. Then You Bet. You Bet. Did you ever watch You Bet?
I used to, and that was with I think it was Matthew Kelly was the
Matthew
host.
Kelly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I used, do you know, I used to love You Bet. And for people who don't know what You Bet was, it was essentially random person in the public would go onto the show, and they would say, "I can eat 10 apples in a minute." Make it up. Or I can hear the first 1 second of any Michael Jackson song and I'll be able to tell you the name of the song. Or I can BMX, I can do some ridiculous. It was almost like not a Guinness World Record, but it was that sort of thing. And then
Yeah,
the
'cause
audience
that
would bet on whether they could do it or not.
Yeah,
And
'cause the one that
then
I really remember was a guy who went on and said, "I can recognize any car just by their headlights." And I was like,
wow,
and because I'm a massive car nut, and like, I
yeah.
could probably still do that now. And I was like, at the time, obviously, like I probably was like 10, maybe even younger than that. I was like, nah, surely not. Like particularly, obviously, when it was on, which would have been what early 90s, probably early to mid
Oh yeah,
90s.
oh definitely mid 90s. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the stuff on there was just like unreal. Like obviously, like Devastate's given some off the cuff stuff, but yeah, I'll recognize any car by their headlights.
I was
Very good program.
so that we used to have gladiators.
Oh,
Like
Gladiator, what a program!
what a program! And do you know, funny story? I went to watch Gladiators live once
What
at
at
the
Birmingham?
in Birmingham NEC. I had the big foam finger, like
Shut
and
the front
yeah. So
door.
I would have been again. I was very very young, maybe 10, 11, 12,
Yeah,
13, somewhere that
yeah,
age.
something like that.
Yeah. So I remember I went to watch that. And obviously, it's an hour show. It was an hour show on a Saturday night, but you were actually there filming for 10 hours. The whole thing took 10 hours. Like it.
You could have 3 meals in that time.
Oh, so you bear in mind that all of the equipment like that they used to have to set up, and it was swinging
Yeah, yeah.
from like the ceiling or like the final eliminate. There was loads of different things, and so I went to see that. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else sort of Saturday night? Like back in the day. I mean, we're probably missing some absolute classics here. I remember like there'd be random shows like Heartbeat.
God, yeah.
That you'd have Casualty. Oh, like yes. I mean that was
Like,
a legendary.
I know people who still watch Casualty.
Is it even still on?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah, yeah.
I mean that's
Family members said they watch it,
oh my
which
gosh.
is yeah, unreal, unreal.
I'll tell
But
you what. I know this is meant to be a gaming. I know this is meant to be a gaming channel, but
we've
in
gone off
the
on a tangent here.
comments, please, please, please put down like your '90s Saturday night shows that you used to watch because I can't wait to read some of them.
Yeah, I mean Baywatch was probably the best one for me by a
A
country mile.
team, A team.
Because Baywatch for me was like right at about dinner time. So we were at that age. I think that we never sat at the table. So it was always dinner on trays on the laps. And but obviously you got to bear in mind, guys, and for those of you who are younger, we only had 4 channels back then.
Yeah.
So there wasn't. I mean, when the 5th channel came in, Channel 5, it was like, whoa, Takeshi's Castle, hello. And then so yeah, 4 channels. So you'd have no Netflix, no Sky. I mean, some people had Sky, but
Most
very
people
unlikely.
didn't.
Most people didn't. So you had 4 channels. So it was whatever was on, that's what you watched.
Yeah.
And yeah, dinner time, Baywatch, Mitch Buchanan. Oh, what a program.
No, Art Attack was more of a was during the week, wasn't it? I was thinking.
Yes, yeah, because then obviously like things during the week. Then you go on to like Fun House.
Whole lot of fun, prize to be won.
It's a real wacky show where anyone can go.
I mean, I can tell you, everyone's people are either going, "Oh my god, I remember this," and they're singing it terribly, or they're going, "What the hell are these guys talking about right now?"
Yeah, this is supposed to be a gaming podcast talking about
It
gaming.
is meant to be. I think we're slightly deviating now.
We went off on a tangent there.
Yeah, we did.
Uh, anyway, get back to the gaming talk. A lot of the other guys from the Link Up crew. So we obviously did quite a lot of 7 Days to Die during the Link Up. So we started our own server there, and I can see that Rage and three of the others are currently playing 7 Days to Die, and they've pretty much been playing it every day for, I would say, 4 to 5 hours every day since the Link Up, and I'm not even exaggerating there. They've got a WhatsApp going on in terms of, right, it's the server's going live at 5:30, so hordes will be at X time each night, and they are locked in. There's nothing else going on except 7 Days to Die for Rage and that lot.
Wild, isn't it? Like the game that's
Yeah,
that old. It's now like on for everyone's back on it. It's
yeah, but I mean, you think
wild.
like when we found Rust in 2014,
Mm.
like you think what we did after that, like after the link up, it would have
Mm-hmm.
been just Rust non-stop for weeks and weeks, if not months and months. And
Yeah,
then obviously when Arc came out, there was obviously a fair few of us who literally, it was just, we did Arc the whole week of the link up, and then afterwards it was like, right, we've got the server, let's get on Arc, and then it'll be like, right, I'm going to be doing X, Y, Z this week, and you can be playing every single night. Whereas now, I think we're a bit older, and some of us have got responsibilities,
yeah,
and just less time to do it. But we will be here every week with a podcast. Even if we're slightly late this week, we'll be here every week with a podcast non-stop.
yeah.
So make sure you stream in weekly on all of your streaming podcast platforms. We've got YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and that's it from a podcast perspective.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we'll look to do some other platforms as well. Try and sort something out with Google as well. I think. I'm just
Yeah.
going to circle back around to just the streaming. What I've been playing. So I sort of done sort of some dailies and stuff, and that's how we end up getting onto it because we started talking about catchphrase. Um,
Yeah.
so the two main games. So I started. End of last week, I think it was. So I started playing Once Human. For anyone who doesn't know, so that's it's a big sort of sandbox, sort of dystopian game. So I started playing it on Twitch, and AV came in the stream, started looking at it. Then I noticed the following day, acidic virus, call him AV, but acidic virus goes live. And he hasn't stopped playing that game either. Literally, he has played almost, I think he's played it a full stream of it every day for like the last 3 days or 4 days. He is
Wow.
hooked on that game. So he's been playing that, and then before the podcast, I've been starting off with the first Descendant. So very early into the game. And it's quite
What is it?
interesting.
Because I was going to say, what is that game? Because obviously I've seen there's been chat in we've got a Raw Link Up WhatsApp group, and there's a bit of chat in there about it. But I have no idea what that game's about. So give us a quick overview of what it is.
First Descendant.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's it's someone's like trying to destroy this world, sort of thing, and you've got to go and stop them. But there you'll go through. I'm just sort of doing the missiony bit. I'm doing the PVE like style bit of it at the moment. There's a PVP
PvP
yeah
element to it.
element to it as well. But essentially, you are a descendant, one of 4 descendants. You pick which one you do a lot of the missions. You then start to open up slots, so then you can have you have 4 descendants, and depending on the sort of mission or like thing you're trying to do, one of the descendants, one's great for defense, one's great for attack, one's great for speed, one it's got like ice capabilities. So you sort of you have the ability to switch which descendant you want to control within a mission.
Oh,
Graphically, it looks superb. It almost blew up my graphics card while streaming it. So
what
it's
graphics card you got?
3070 Ti.
Oh, yeah, so you more than capable.
Yeah, but that plus streaming, it almost blew up.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah. So I'm just gonna tweak those things. So that's okay now. But that looks quite nice. So what I'm probably going to carry on doing. Well, yeah, there is. I was going to stream a game called Palia, Palia, and I was in a city bar to stream, and he was like, "That is basically the most passive, boring game that he's ever played." He said it's basically like Stardew Valley but 3D. And I was like, okay, well, I won't play that then. Uh, but yes, I think what I'm going to carry on doing on the channel is I'm going to maybe not mission games. I think I'm just going to play huge variety of different games until I find one that I really love.
Get hooked on.
Yeah. So I liked Once Human. I thought it was okay. It was okay. Like I don't want to play a game, especially if it's big, massively multiplayer, and end up putting hundreds of hours into it. If I don't really
Enjoy it.
well, I enjoy it, but it's like, yeah, it's yeah, it's as Massanebri would say, PH7.
Very PH7. Very
And
PH7.
it's very yeah, it's okay. But so I want to obviously play a game that I really enjoy playing, and that obviously all the audience want to sort of watch as well.
Because what I'll say to that is, if when you find a game that you think is really good, the likelihood is that I'll probably like it as well.
yes,
Let me know what it is, and then we can do a duo stream. So you can stream on Twitch, I can stream on TikTok Live, and then we can obviously both jump in Discord, and then we can have the multicam setup going, and then everyone can see both you and I and whoever else we want to get on as well.
I 100%, yeah, because we can something that we can maybe look at. I'm not sure quite how we do it. There's like some other software that you can pull in your camera from. I could theoretically pull in your camera from a TikTok stream onto my live stream, and you could do it vice versa as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really good.
So I think we can have a play around and a practice with that. I mean, I think the game that could end up being that is a game that I'm uber excited to play, which is Light No Fire, which I had the pleasure of showing Beefy just before recording this podcast.
Yeah, and I'll give you my take on it. So I'd never heard of the game. Devastate literally just told me about it literally five minutes before we jumped on the podcast. So I watched the trailer and I was just like, oh, wow. Like, graphically, it looks absolutely stunning. I don't think it looks as good as Ark, but I still think it looks absolutely stunning. And like from a gameplay perspective, it's got a bit of that crafting and survival element to it that Ark has got. It's got the sort of MMO World of Warcraft-esque look and feel to it to a certain extent. Then it's got the fantasy element to it, which I think you got dragons flying around, etc., etc. And then you've got the sheer giganticness scale of the thing, which is essentially like, oh, I'm just going to walk this way, and I'm going to keep going for 10 years.
Yeah,
and I'm still not going to get to the edge of the map.
Well, that's the thing. So just for anyone, I'll put the trailer up in this like as we're talking about it. But apparently, the size of the game is the size of the Earth in real life. So it's one world, one Earth to house all the players that will ever play it. So it could be. I think it's just got massive potential, and if we can get some guilds and some squads in that, I think it'll be. It's going to have PvP. Join my squad. PvE, PvE. Oh my god, I think that could be an absolute win. Can't promise anything because I was also insanely looking forward to PAX Die, which I know has come out. It's in alpha. I know it's an early access, but that game is dev sandbox. You need a huge community of people, and you build stuff, but there's no risk at the moment. You need that game, I believe, is going to live and die by how good the PvP is on it. And like, you have one castle over here, you got another castle over here. You get points for raiding castles. I think that game looks superb. But at the moment, it is purely a crafting game, and there's a lot of those out there at the moment.
Yeah, and like I think the thing with crafting games, it's I think it's fine up to a certain extent. It's like if you said right, if I was playing Ark Survival Ascended and there was no dinosaurs involved, and all I had to do was just like get wood, get stone, build more stuff to build better armor, etc. It's
Mm.
like, okay, what do you do after that? Yeah, there's not
Where's the
really.
longevity of the game?
Yeah, yeah. Whereas like in Ark, it's like right, you got to get up your dinosaurs, get like hordes of dinosaurs or packs of dinosaurs. Then you got to get bigger dinosaurs, go exploring, go into the ocean, get dragons, etc., etc. And like, I mean, I could just play the single player on that for an eternity and not get bored.
And is there in the on Ark? Is there a is it a is it are you in a multiplayer world, or are
No,
you
so
just in your own instance essentially?
yeah, so you're in your own you're in your own instance when you're doing the single player. So
Mm-hmm.
essentially, you have a world, and there is PVE dinosaurs on there, and they will obviously certain dinosaurs will attack you. But obviously, there's a PvP element that you or PvP game mode which you can go into. So you can go onto servers, then try and survive against PvP. But frankly, I A, haven't got the time, and B, don't have the capacity to get onto PvP because like they're going to be a lot younger people on there who have got hours and days of their lives to build and craft everything, etc. Whereas I've got 2-3 hours a week max, which I'll try and do on stream, and then anything I do outside of that will just be with my two boys who absolutely adore Ark because they love dinosaurs. But from that perspective, I just do it on a single player with them, but they love it.
Cool. I mean, there's a couple of games that we play at Link that I do want to go back and play probably as a group. I want to go back. I want to try and get a Sins 2 game going at some
Yeah,
point.
all
I
up for that.
mean, maybe we try and get like maybe we try and do like a monthly Sins game in like, and we arrange like because it takes so long to play. It's almost this is either it's almost a Sunday game or a Friday night at
Can
six
you pause?
p.m.
Can you pause
start.
the games? Can you pause the games in Sims 2?
You can
Like,
pause. I don't know whether we can save and resume. I mean,
yeah, that's if you could save and resume, that would be ideal because like I don't have the time to do 6-7 hours on a game.
no,
Um, like even if I did it on a week, even if I did it on like a Friday night, I'm still going to be up at 5-6 o'clock the day. I'm going to be
yeah,
absolutely ruined. So yeah, because they definitely used to be a save and resume on the Sins Rebellion, didn't there? Because
yeah.
we used to do that frequently at the link up, where we would play a game a certain amount of the way, pause it, then go and play something else, and then come back to it like the next day. And like, right, we're going to resume Sins Rebellion. We need you, and you in. Are you in? Yes, we're in. So hopefully there's that in Sins too, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, it might be just. I mean, the more people you have in the game, the longer that the game goes on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
So I think
yeah.
if just me and you did a 2v2, we could battle that game out in 2 or 3 hours
Oh yeah. No, I
comfortably.
mean, like I've played 2v2s where you've got 6 planets.
I mean, yeah, that
So you
game's going to be over very quickly.
yeah. So it's basically rush and how quickly can you
Yeah,
establish that. So it's basically you have two. You start here, two start there, and then there's 2 planets in the middle, and you got to get to them, rush, and then go from there.
oh, I tell you what, I quite like the idea of that.
Yeah, I've definitely played that on Sins Rebellion. So presumably they'll have that on Sins too. You would think.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Obviously it's still in beta, so
Yeah.
there's not enough planets yet, and the that's why I don't think at the moment you'll be able to save and resume at the
Yeah,
moment.
possibly. But I think moving on from that, we're in discussions to potentially have some more
Breaking
smaller,
news!
yeah, breaking news
Breaking news! You heard it here first.
on the podcast. We're in discussions to have some smaller mini links more regularly throughout the year. So there won't be one massively. Obviously, no, there will still always be one massive link throughout the year in the year, and that will generally be June, July, sometime like that. But we're in discussions to potentially have some sort of 3 to 5 man mini links over maybe a weekend, as a possibility as well. So there's a couple of maybe 2 or 3 venues which within the link up group could potentially do that. So that is definitely something that's possibly on the cards. I'd be very much up for that. I haven't told the wife yet, so if she can hear me now, hopefully she's nodding and going, "Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I
You can
think
go to that."
yeah, I think that it'd be a great idea. Of course, with everything like that, it's and people with families have got to line it up, and it's like times like we know generally every year when the link up is going to be,
Yeah,
almost to the week, essentially.
yeah,
Every year
yeah,
we know it's going to be about that first ish sort of week of July. Sometimes it changes, but generally we know them. So you can always plan your holiday for them. When we're talking about these mini ones, it's like, right, who have we got that can come? Right, when can you do? When can you do? When can you do? When can you do? When can you take time off work? Some people have quite difficult jobs, so it's like there's going to be an element of strategically planning when we can do these mini link ups.
yeah. Because some people work in job in the link up group. Some people work in jobs where they do work over the weekends.
Yeah,
I, in theory, work 24/7, but I can also work no hours in a week and it still works because I work in e-commerce. So it just depends who would be part of it. I think both Devastate and I would be very much up for it.
yeah, 100%.
But again, as to his point, it's very much around schedules.
Yeah,
So for me, it's who have I got to look after the children for an entire weekend, so that I can justify it to the wife and go to wherever the venue is going to be.
yes, because you can't just leave it with Mrs. Beef.
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah, goodbye, goodbye. See
Yeah,
you later.
that'd
I'm off.
be I'm off by. I think you'd
Yeah,
come back to some divorce papers if that was the case.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh God. So yes, that's breaking news. Also speaking of breaking news, and in a weird way, because obviously the podcast didn't come out earlier this week, but what I want to move on
Later,
to,
later.
uh, this podcast is coming out later in the week than
Yes.
usual, but because we're recording it later, gives me the opportunity to talk a little bit about some gaming news. So I'm going to touch on 2 things. Firstly, I was going to do a quick couple of minutes. FIFA 25 has been announced. It's not FIFA 25. It's EAFC 25 has been announced. Now, I know that you're not a massive fan, Beefy, but I, over the last 2 years, have put probably combined somewhere close to 1,200 hours in over the last 2 years.
Small amount of gaming.
Yeah,
Small amount of gaming.
small amount. And it's going to be interesting to see if I do that on stream or not in the new game. I'm not 100% certain I'm going to buy it at release. Might see how the game comes out. But yeah, so that's a lot of that's all being announced. By all accounts, EA have listened to the players because a lot of the changes that have been asked of the community or from the community to EA seem to have been accepted. We wait and see with EA. EA screw their player base over all the time with every game. They are just a big money grabbing company.
Well, I mean, that's what you want from a gaming company or a dev, isn't it? You want them to listen to the fan base or the player base from, if in that case, obviously previous versions, and you want them to listen and go, right, look, we know that this has been absolute BS the last 2 years or whatever. We've amended it. We've listened to your feedback and let us know what you think. Here it is in alpha or whatever. Have a go, have a play on a alpha weekend or whatever, and see what you go from there. But I think that's what you want from a dev or a dev team or a game publisher in house,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
And I think that they know they had to get their act together. So in the world of football games, there's 2. There's what used to be, for everyone knows, the FIFA franchise, being FIFA games for years. But last year, 2 years ago, was the last ever FIFA game by EA. And EA said, we're not going to pay FIFA the money for their to call our game FIFA anymore. We're going to call ourselves EAFC and still carry on with the year. So essentially, this year you had EAFC 24, and you had a game called eFootball, which is the version of what you would remember as Pro Evolution Soccer,
Oh,
or
Evo,
Pro
yes.
Evo, or PES. So that game morphed into a game called eFootball, which is a free to play game, and it is so far behind. You can't even compare the two in terms of player base quality, everything. So EAFC and FIFA, the old FIFA, hold the mantle for certainly, I would say, for the last 8 years. But the reason why I think EA have picked their game up is because there's 3 new football games in development. So you've got a game called UFL, Ultimate Football League, which had a beta trial about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. It is a beta game. It's probably a year away from release. You've got another game, I think, called Goals, which is probably 2 years away from release. And then you've got FIFA. So FIFA is in the Federation of Football, the actual football body, have said, right, we're going to license a new game. Now, the word on the street is that they are going to partner with 2K. So 2K Game Studio, the people that do NBA 2K, WWE 2K. So it looks like you're going to get almost like a FIFA 2K 25. Now, is there any chance that this game comes out this year? None. They're not going to get it. But next year, towards the end of 2025, you could have UFL, potentially Goals, FIFA 2K, EAFC. And so if EA have got to be going, right, we've gone from having a basically zero competition to having competition that go eat. So EA make billions from FIFA. They make more than twice as much money from in-game loot boxes than they do from game sales. Wow. So they've got to be going. They must attribute saying, right, our game costs this. If we lose 10%, it's not just 10% of £100 game. That's actually a loss to them. They think about it of 200 quid.
Yeah.
They got to think about. They think about the whole picture. So they go, actually, if we lose, they could lose 250, 300, 400 million if they don't have a product that is
up to scratch.
Is up to scratch. Now, it might be that UFL Goals, FIFA 2K, aren't up to scratch. They're not a good game. In which case, FIFA's already won. But if you're FIFA right now, you're going, we can guarantee ourselves 12 months of the cash cow, but it might change. So we've got to win community hearts and minds. Yeah. So we're waiting to see. Like the game starts pre-ordering today. If you pre-order before August, you get some benefits. The game comes out 20th of September. So we'll wait and see what happens between now and then. But I think it was really interesting how they spoke about the good stuff they're going to do. I'm not trying to be skeptical, but it feels that they didn't care as much the last edition. It feels like they care a little bit more now. But they might be nice. They might be have some change there. We don't know.
That's super interesting. And then, as we're talking about football games, I just want, and obviously we touched on a bit of Saturday night TV back in the day. I just want to bring back some nostalgia from a football perspective. Championship Manager 99-2000, one of the greatest games I've ever played in my life.
Yeah,
I cannot tell you how many hours I put into that game. Honestly, so I remember I got to the year, I think, like it was probably about now, like 2022, 2023 in the game. Like the amount of hours it's unbelievable game. Well,
You still know I still play a huge amount of Football Manager
Yeah, Football
games.
Manager, yeah.
I'm unsure whether I should play them on stream. I'm unsure. I'm a bit 50-50. We can give them a go. Give it a go.
Yeah.
But I won't be. I've finished playing Football Manager, the current one. I got it in November, and usually but literally almost mid-December I had a break from EAFC, and I just did like a month solid of a Football Manager then. But so I play Football Manager generally around 200 to 250 hours per game cycle.
Terrible, man. Terrible amount of time.
So you can imagine how much time I'm actually spending playing games. I'm playing 600 hours of FIFA, 250 hours of Football Manager, and all the other little bits and pieces in between. And now I'm playing all these other games as well.
Yeah, Devastate doesn't actually work. Like these games, like 24/7. Yeah.
I wish that was the case.
Oh, yeah, Dreamland.
But there's a big change for Football Manager this year. So for the first, they've changed engines to the new Unity engine, and it looks like, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, we're going to have some announcements coming soon about the new graphics match engine. And I am praying that we actually have. It's not going to be FIFA graphics.
No.
But some sort of like real nice graphical engine, and that's what it's going over to Unity. That's going to allow it. The game is changing massively for the first time.
You think back in the day, it was literally just dots, wasn't it? You had dots moving around on the green pitch, didn't you? And that was it.
Well, I remember before dots. I remember you just had a flashing banner at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
It was this completed a pass. This did this did this. This did goal, and it flashes.
Yeah, it flashed. Yeah.
I tell you what, there's those games, like the most non-action games.
Yeah, kids nowadays don't realise how good they've got it.
But I love that game. Oh my gosh, I've never felt heartbreak ever in a game as much as Football Manager, and I've never experienced wins in a game ever. Like, so I always do, and every year I do sort of a season of learning the game with a Premier League club. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I usually pick Arsenal, learning all the new game mechanics, learning structure, and I go, right, learn it all, and I then go and start a new save in the lower divisions. So let's say I take a Kidderminster or like a Telford or something like that, and the mission is ultimately is to win the Champions League with that club.
Champions League, yeah. Well, I mean, like Jay from the In-Betweeners, when you took Woking from the conference to the Champions League in 4 seasons, and then they offered me the England job, but I turned it down.
Yeah, but it is essentially like that. Now, Football Manager nowadays is it's almost impossible to do that. So you can go from, like, say, the conference to like League One. You might have that as your quick bounce, depending on your squad. But you might then be like 3 or 4 seasons in League One before you can almost like wrap it up. Yeah. Just because it's the level of detail in this game now is absolutely insane. And it's such of a level that football clubs use the data for Football Manager. So Football Manager, I think, has 12,000 scouts employed around the world to add players to its data. It's one of the biggest employers. It's the biggest scouting engine in the world. And so these players, you will go and you're sitting in a Brazilian third division game, and you have a list of players, and you have 20 attributes, and you give each of those players a score from 1 to 20, and you do that for every single player. So you're going.
Surely there's got to be some corruption in there.
Well, I mean, they're not incentivized to be corrupted, but I mean, I suppose, like, technically, in Football Manager, you always try and hunt down the Brazilian wonder kids.
Yeah.
venues like that in Brazil, USA, Thailand, uh, New Zealand, Japan. Like, you imagine all over South Africa. Like, you imagine that. So there's 12,000 people all over the world that go and watch all of these games. That basically update, and they get home and they're on a laptop and they manually update the database with all of this data.
What a job! What a job!
Like
What a
that.
job!
Now, if anyone ever speaks to me about the job I want to do in the world, I want to be a football manager scout.
Yeah, that. I mean, I could. Yeah, but I want to do it in Hawaii. Hawaii, ideally.
Oh, I'll go and do it. I'll tell you what. Do you know what I'd quite like to do? I'd quite like to go and do. Actually, no, I'd just do Spain. I'd just do.
Yeah.
I'd just do second tier Spain, and I can just go around to. I go to Ibiza, and I can go to like Tenerife, and I can go to Mallorca, and I can go to like Madrid and Barcelona and Bilbao, and I can. I'll just take Spain. I'll happily do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had a few tangents there.
Yeah, a few tangents tonight.
Yeah, okay, I'm pretty happy with that. It is just a shout out to everyone who keeps supporting us, watching our videos. If you're watching them live on Twitch or TikTok, or listen to the podcast across all of our platforms, we continue to have some amazing feedback. We have such a wonderful community, and I just want to say, like, thank you for interacting with us, and the more information, the more feedback, and the more love you give to us, the more we'll keep giving it back to you. And we are trying to plan bigger and better things to keep all of our audience, keep our whole community entertained. Because look, we know now that everyone thought that, the link is over. What are we going to do for the next 51 weeks of the year? We are still trying to grow. We're trying to create stuff. We want to help and cultivate a great community of gamers and people that just want to hang around with us and watch our content,
and people who want to start their own LAN parties. And
I'll tell you what, if we can inspire the next generation of LAN parties, that would be wild. That would be something amazing.
Honestly, that would be like enormous. Like if someone could do that, and like if you're watching if you're watching this or you're listening to this and you're going, I'd love to do a LAN, just do it. Just start small. Do a one-nighter or a weekend LAN with your mates. Doesn't have to be on the scale that we do it. We've been doing it for 26 years. Do it with 2, 3, 4 of your mates, and then see how it goes, and then expand it from there. Yeah. But yeah, that I would absolutely love that. Would absolutely love that. So yes.
And if you do anything like that,
let us
please tag us. Social media, tag us. We have a Reddit. Now, I plugged the Reddit for weeks. No one's put anything in there. But put stuff in the Reddit that you want us to look at. If you're doing a mini LAN, put stuff in the Reddit. If you want us to play games, put them in the Reddit. If you want us to react to videos, react to news, anything, stick it in the Reddit. That is where we can comfortably go and get that content and easily share it within the group as well.
And I don't think there's a social media platform that we're not really on a regular basis. Yeah. So if you're on TikTok, if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, if you're on X, let us know, tag us in it, and we'll feature it on the podcast. That's for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
So I think
I will just say, sorry, I will just also say quickly, Beef, to interrupt you. Also, please go and follow us on Twitter at the Royal Link Up, because what we are doing now is before we are going live, we are posting on there. So I will be posting at least half an hour or before I go live, to give people time to come and watch. So go on there just so you also get a notification, because I know that Twitch, they send out the email, but sometimes people don't see the email. If you're on Twitter or X, go and give us a follow. It's the easiest way to see when we go live. And I believe, Beefy, will you also post on there before you go live on TikTok?
Yeah, absolutely,
There you
absolutely.
go. So that's but for both streaming platforms. Right, we better go. Better wrap this up. I've got to go and edit this now and do everything so it's ready for tomorrow and get it ready for Apple and for Spotify. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We appreciate every single one of you. My name has been Devastate.
And I am the amazing Sniper Beef. Good night to you all.
Good night.